Hello, how's it going? Hi, this is Canon, and you're watching the Canon Book Show, where I try to motivate myself to read through very slowly through my backlog of books. So, again, we're reading Anna Karenina and Murakami's IQ 1Q84. I keep saying IQ84, but it's 1Q84. What can I say? Where have I been? Well, unfortunately, YouTube. So YouTube has a feature where you can set timestamps of different time periods in the video, and it'll automatically set up the video into chapters. And I really like that feature, but for some reason it's disappeared from my channel, and I don't like that. And I thought I could do a thing or two to get it back, but nothing has really come true. So I just kept waiting around for it to come back. And I looked it up. It seems like it's a hit or miss whether it comes back or not, and if it actually does go away in the first place. So when I started streaming and recording videos, it just appeared automatically. I didn't really have to do anything. I didn't really need to press many buttons. All I had to do was include some numbers in the description and just did it for you. I wish it was a little less automatic and more manual, so I can just I know I've put it in, and I know the system knows it's in there, and it's just not putting them. It's very frustrating. I thought I could basically, we don't have chapters anymore. Just look at the description and those are the chapters. So I really do like the chapters because, well, these are long videos, right? The real content is just the summaries in between the actual reading. So for the most part, we don't really get much of an active chat going on. So it's really, for me at least, I like the summaries and writing the summaries also and reviewing it later. Oh well. Anyways, we are reading Anna Karenina. So I do watch my own videos, and for the most part I was a bit annoyed with some of my summaries, because while I want them to be raw and unedited, because one, it's more efficient for me to just release videos raw and unedited, because if they're edited, that means I'll likely never have any content and it will take up way too much of my time. I just wanted to read the book, but on a stream, a very low effort, and stream it in a low effort kind of way. Yeah. But even at that level, there's a couple of things I want I want to be a bit better than. And well, my summaries about who Tolstoy is and where he's from was really inconsistent, and also some of my comprehension of the characters' names and the story sometimes really fell below the low bar that I've set for myself. So I think we're gonna start chapter 24 with and the summary of it with a little bit of Googling. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So, where's my browser? Okay, it's picked up. So we've got Anna Karenina, right? My things disappeared. My pointer. Oh, that's annoying. That is very, very annoying. Let's see if I can get it back. It's back. So previously we read chapter 22 and 23. Vronsky has thrown a bowl, like a dance party, like a party basically, for the town because he's got a celebrity friend visiting. I think it's Korsonsky and his wife. And Kitty, who is in love with Vronsky, wanted to dance the mazurka dance with Vronsky as like a testament for their love, and she was brutally shut down and realized how much in love Vronsky and Anna Karenina are for each other. And yeah, she was, she realized her defeat in that 23rd chapter. But what I really want to do before we start, as part of this chapter 24 summary is to set some of the information more straight. And one of the things I want to be a bit better at is not full. So one of the in the internet, one of the lowest. Actually, just let me put Anna Karenina on the screen. There you go. It's a bit better. One of the lowest bars you have to set, information-wise, is that it should at least you should strive to be better than Google, and you should strive to be better than the Wikipedia page. I mean, like, if you're not better than the Google page and the Wikipedia page, these days you're just not trying hard enough. So let's have a look. I said in the previous summary that Anna Karenina came out in the 20th century. Like, in my mind, it was like 1910s, like somewhere around World War One. But no, history-wise, it came out in 1878, before the 1880s, well before the war. Let's see, when did the Civil War happen? American Civil War. 1865, so just a bit after the American Civil War. Spanish-American War. So 1898, so before the Spanish-American War. And Communist Revolution of Russia. Russian Revolution. It was between 1917 and 1923, and guess what? Tolstoy died in 1910, so that started and began after he died. So Tolstoy had nothing to do with the communists, as far as I know from this level of knowledge. So I was completely incorrect with that assumption. I don't know how. Well, I guess I do know where I formed some of those bad memories. Was like I popped in and out of a documentary on TV and I wasn't really paying attention. So that's partly where the misconception of Tolstoy and the origins of Anna Karenina came to be. So maybe I should include this in some of my summary today. World War One. to 100%. So World War One began in 1914, ended around 1918. So that's what I like about reading these books, because again, it it, it really engages you to be a little bit more informed in that time period, that context of that person, and the context of that writer, before and after and during, is really relevant to being informed about the world and having an idea of where we are right now. So, you know, Russia, you know, today's news, incredibly relevant. There's a lot going on with Russian politics and European politics. It's the same, and the politics of socialism and communism. Very interesting. And perhaps just reading a book about, you know, by a Russian author can help you be more, you know, when something like that happens, you have a better idea of, and a better set of resources to navigate through that information and those events. Gosh, that's really, if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. Anyways, I guess what I'll do is like just take maybe 10 minutes to fix some of my information up, and maybe add a little bit of a blurb about Tolstoy. Let's see. Let's see, Tolstoy, right? We'll make that into There we go. Now it's a whole thing. Now, Leo Tolstoy. Full name, Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. Actually, Count Lev Nikolaevich. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that name. Nikolaevich. I think, yeah, Lev Nikolaevich. Born 9th of September 1828, and died 20th of November 1910, age 82. Ugh. 1910. I guess furthermore into this, I also made a discovery between after the last episode about the Russian naming conventions. So it doesn't happen. Doesn't seem to happen in every single name. But for instance, with Oblonsky and his wife, or maybe sister. So I think part of their family name is Arkadievich. But but with Anna, it becomes Arkadievna. And with Daria or Dolly, his Oblonsky's wife, her maiden name is Sherbatsky, but as she's a woman, it's transformed to Sherbatskaya. And with Anna, not only is Arkadievna also transformed, but also Karenina. While Anna might be called a Karenina, her wife, sorry, her husband is called, has a nickname and son, has a surname called Karenin, I believe. So they're pretty rich. So I believe her husband would be a Count Karenin, which is I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if I can. There's anything. There's an interesting history about that naming convention, but I do notice it in Slavic type countries like Russia. I think Russia is a Slavic country. Okay, more things to Google. Radio. Yeah, so I might also fix up the character names here and there in future. So we've got Count Leo Tolstoy, Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, and I just want to fill out more of that that bio, so we get a good understanding. Do I want to do this for Murakami? I'll think about it. Murakami is also interesting, but he's no Leo Tolstoy, so we have to do it at least for Leo Tolstoy. So, notable works. War and Peace. Okay. I came into this story of Anna Karenina because I wanted to read something. I really wanted to read War and Peace. I'm not a huge fan of Vogue magazine, but like one time I got suggested a video of like these. I like the series, their video series, like 70 questions in one go or something like that. 70 questions interview. Vogue 70 questions. 73 questions actually. With Anna Wintour, and I thought it was really interesting that she mentioned how she what she was like when she was younger and growing up. And well, she when she was growing up, she read War and Peace, and that she seems like an interesting person. I'm a big fan of tennis, and that's how I know of Anna Wintour, actually. And and I've heard of War and Peace before, and my friend talked about it, how it's kind of written like Game of Thrones, so that made me even more interested in it. And I like to collect classic books because it helps me get a better understanding of references people make, and also the kind of things that the new or more recent material that come out, like they happen to be influenced by really popular established classics, and War and Peace is one of them, so I really want to acquire that one. But I wanted, for some reason, to read something before that book, which is what got me interested in Anna Karenina, which is also interesting. And also, there's a movie about Anna Karenina, and I like to read books and then watch the movie and be slightly disappointed, either slightly disappointed or really pleased with an adaptation. So that's why I'm reading Anna Karenina first. Okay, so we'll add these. You might be interested in checking out some more of the Leo Tolstoy. Canon. Anna Karenina. The Death of Ivan Ilyich. I wonder if that's a real person. The Kingdom of God is Within You. That sounds like an interesting, very spiritual title. I don't know if Tolstoy is a religious fanatic of sorts, but that is an interesting topic within the Russian history, because, well, the communists and socialists were interested in moving past religion, and that means achieving a more secular society, which I think China has a very secular society, and it proves to be a bit of a benefit for them, because they don't have to argue about religion as much, even though they're doing something sinister at the moment with a religious minority in their community, which is very unfortunate. Even then, religion is still a hot topic in China. Yeah. Resurrection. Again, a very spiritual type title. I don't know anything about these works, but I can sense the topic of religion being coming into my mind in this, and I don't know anything about the story, and I believe maybe we will do more of this in the future. Read more about more of his Wikipedia page and expand this little summary we have of him. I think that would be fun. Wow. Okay. Is this a photograph or a painting? Lithograph. Interesting. This is how I remember Tolstoy, actually. Like that. With the beard. White beard. Yep. Again. Spirituality. Huh, that's interesting. And he died of pneumonia at 82, I believe. A Christian anarchist. See? Religion does play into it. I will read this more on my own time, just so the episode isn't too long, and we actually do get to read chapter 24. This is interesting. I'll definitely summarize this in another episode. So he died at 82. Sophia Birds, 1862 is it? 1862, Sophia Birds. What's that? Over 150 years ago? Wow. What else can I add? Well, I guess more context. Russian Revolution. (1914 to 1910), right? 1917. Wait, what? 1914 to backwards in time. What? 1917 to 1923. In 23. World War One. Much shorter than World War Two. 1914 to 1918. To 1918. And then we got American Civil War. 1861 to 1865. Excellent. And the Spanish-American War, 1898. Excellent. Now we have a better understanding. And when did Joseph Stalin come to power? 1922. So in my little head, I thought like Tolstoy had some kind of interaction with Joseph Stalin, but you know, the guy came into power maybe over a decade after Tolstoy died, so highly unlikely. I guess also I could fix up some of the names. So the Wikipedia page is not nice enough to include the names of each of the characters, the full names even. We got an Anna, Annie. Oh, okay. Oh, we should try and be careful and avoid some spoilers here. So Constantine. Copy and pasting these. Um, okay. Another comprehension issue. I've put in Dolly Oblonsky, Sherbatskia Oblonsky, but it's Oblonskia, and that makes sense because, again, as we talked about, the Russians add a name, like for Russian surnames, the Russians add an A for female names. So Oblonsky, Oblonskia. Stephen is referred to as Arkadievich, and Anna is his sister, is Arkadievna. Okay. Also, I just remembered I was calling Oblonsky Stephen. Like I actually wrote Stephen in the summaries, but it's Stepan, and up until now I keep calling him Stephen, but it's Stepan. Oblonsky is called Stepan, or Steva is his nickname. Yeah, so I have to get this right. If of all things, this is the stuff that I want to write down, because this is what makes it hard to follow story. Oh yeah, Kozny. I like his name. Oh, he's a half brother. Interesting. Kozny is a half brother. So that is Levin's successful brother. Paste without formatting. Levin's brother. He's about 40 years old. That's interesting. Actually, I might do this off stream, but I want to know everyone's age, and it seems like this is telling us all of the ages. 33 years old. So that's important stuff, I reckon. Huh. They're both called Levin. So Kostya. Huh, okay. Oh yeah, I could understand that. So some of the, for some people, they're known by their surnames, even with friends. And I think that's what's happened with Levin. And Oblonsky. Oblonsky is known by his surname. The book refers to him as Oblonsky sometimes as well, rather than Steva or Stepan, which is interesting. And Kitty is a princess, apparently. Yep. So that's way better than what I had. Interesting. And Kitty is 18. Oh god. 18. And Levin is Konstantin, 32. Okay. Wow. He is trying to shoot. Wait. He's going for the moon. No wonder. She's a princess and like almost half his age. 11. Vronsky. Anna. Vronsky. And Oblonsky is 34. I like to have Oblonsky at the top because, well, he's the first character I ever mentioned. And his story is like... His story makes it a lot easier to make sense of all the rest of the other stories. He kind of sets everything into motion, Oblonsky, so... yeah. He's the first one that comes to my mind when I think of Anna Karenina. Even, yeah. I don't... in this story, the first... You would think that maybe the first character comes to my mind is Anna Karenina, but well, I don't really know much about Anna at the moment. How old is... yeah, Vronsky. About 32. Like 11. Okay. Yep, up here. He's a count as well. And we've met his mother, and so has Anna. Okay. I'm tempted to put in Vronsky's sister. Seems like she's a minor character, but if it's mentioned in here, that means there's something in there. Okay. Sister of Vronsky. Mother Vronsky. I see. And he's an Alexei Vronsky, which I believe in this area, or maybe in Germany, the nickname for them is Sasha. So, Sashas. Maybe Sashas with an S. Cool. And a little stream marker there, so I remember where it so ends. Okay, so that's my little context dump of Anna Karenina. I think it's time to go back into the actual book itself. Okay. Again, we're in chapter 24. In the past couple of chapters we've read in episode 1 and 2, we see how the characters, how Vronsky is hosting a ball or a party for all the other characters, as he has a celebrity friend, the Korsonskys, visiting. And again, in the most recent chapter, in chapter 23, Kitty was hoping to dance with Vronsky in the mazurka. They were doing a couple of dances. One was the mazurka, and the other is a quadrille. And one of them is a thrum, which is a funny sounding name. Oh, okay, maybe that's not a dance. And a quadrille. So, and Kitty was hoping that the mazurka would be a testament of their love, and she was brutally shut down with the realization that is she is losing this love triangle or love quadrangle quite outstandingly. Ooh, okay, we've got Anna's son, 8 years old, Sergey. Right. Well, we should really add him. That's an important character. Son, Anna's son, and Mr. Karenin. Yeah. This might not be a love quadrangle anymore, but more of a love pentagon if he's involved. I don't. Oh, here we go. Oh, that is so interesting. So both of the men that are in a romantic relationship with Anna Karenina. Guess what? First name, both are Alexei. Whew, that would have been interesting. I wonder if Tolstoy is doing something with that. That would. Okay. Curious. Hey. Yep. Yeah, sizes are the same. Yep. Oh, they're all 32. Except Anna. I think Anna is in like her late 20s. Anna Karenina. 34? No? No. Anna's younger than Steva. Interesting. They don't tell her name. Cool. Anna Karenina age. How old is Anna Karenina? 27. Interesting. Cool. Well, that's enough of that. Back to reading. Chapter 24. I get my headphones on and listen to some music. Well, that was chapter 24. What an interesting read. Okay, so where do I start? So, chapter 24 is a 11 episode. Again, Levin is in a love quadrangle with Kitty, Vronsky, and Anna. Maybe a love pentagon if we include Anna's husband. And, you know, I, I don't know if Levin was in the party or he was somewhere else, but he, I think, was leaving the Sherbatsky family home or something. He's walking and leaving, and he's traveling somewhere. And during that travel, he was pretty down in the dumps. He's realized that he has been a fool for pursuing Kitty. Obviously, he is way out of his league. The chances are very low. And he found himself comparing himself with Vronsky. And, you know, as the story definitely portrays the situation, Vronsky is like a rich, handsome, successful person. And Levin is not. In his own family, he's not even the best brother. He's like the middle brother, and only because his other brother, Nikolai, is doing really, really bad in his life, and his other brother, Kozny, is doing very, very well. So, yes, Levin feels horrible, and he thought about visiting his brother Nikolai. So Nikolai, again, the family has some money, but Nikolai's share of it, he's lost because, well, he's blown it all essentially. He's wasted his money, bad investments, an addiction to alcohol, and really low life friends. So as Levin travels to Nikolai's hotel room to visit him, he recounts the life of Nikolai and how Nikolai started out at university with a very really a religious fanatic lifestyle. He was all into it. He was like a monk, and people made fun of him and teased him. Why doesn't he just become a priest or something? And eventually, at some point, Nikolai broke down and started doing the opposite, hanging out with lowlives, getting really into alcohol, becoming very addicted, getting into stupid fights, and locked up in prison, and then getting into bad investments for quick money and blowing his share of the wealth in his family. And some of his brothers would have to go off and then pay off the debts that Nikolai produces and runs into. But Levin, while looking down on his brother, also reflects further on past that and says, wow, there is he looks into the good within his brother and the potential in there, and remembers um, the past that is so easily forgotten now of Nikolai being incredibly obsessed with religion, and how religion was essentially a very good thing for Nikolai. It's better than what he is doing now, which is less than nothing. So doing nothing would be an improvement, but he's doing worse than that. Okay? So that's an interesting progression, because we're getting to see some of the things that Tolstoy is getting at. I'll have to think about it more, but it certainly seems like that religious aspect that we noticed in the early portion of this episode about Tolstoy and Christianity and religion is starting to manifest itself. And now we have to think about how Tolstoy maybe is perhaps reflecting on religion and perhaps even preaching. You know, this is a character who is essentially, his life would be better if he just never left the church, if he lived up to the values of that they were living in. It would be better than nothing. It would be better than being a low life. Yeah, so now Levin reflects on that, and now Levin wants to visit his brother and to shower him with love and affection. So that essentially, because he understands his brother now, for some reason, and while he feels horrible about his own life, perhaps at least now he is inspired to better the life of a relative, which I think is noble. I like that. That's pretty. There's something in that. I think that's beautiful. So he gets to the hotel room that Nikolai is staying at, and he is, surprised, because, well, I guess in today's equivalent of it, it would be like walking into a crack house. The hotel room is really messy, and there are a lot of weird characters that are in the hotel room with Nikolai. He is barely able to notice the presence of Nikolai until he hears him cough. And what he notices immediately upon seeing his brother is how weakly and emaciated he is from the last time he saw him, how his hair is wrinkly and weak, and his speech is slurred and slow. And Nikolai then introduces the two people with him. One is a young man, and another is a random woman. He seems to order her around a lot and refers to her as Masha. He introduces his two. He is surprised because the last time he spoke or contacted his brothers, he told them to stay away from him and cut ties with him completely. But it seems like he is easily warmed by the mere presence of his brother. And even now with the statement of intent by Levin just to hang out with Nikolai just for the sake of hanging out with him, I think he's definitely touched. This is a very touching development for the Levin story. He's not just a dreamer Apparently, he's also very. He's a thoughtful brother. And now Nikolai seems to share that same characteristic and warmly introduces his company. The young man he refers to as Mr. Kritsky, um, and now shares his story about how he's a young man from Kiev, um, and how he was cheated by life. He kept running in trouble in in Kiev University and was expelled um, for seemingly innocent reasons, starting clubs and getting into programs. Somehow got him into trouble, and then he very vaguely um, recounts also similar injustices that Kritsky experiences as a teacher and in runnings with the police, and now he has found himself in a den with Nikolai, an alcoholic. And then Nikolai also warmly introduces Masha, and it turns out her name is Maria Nikolaevna. It seems she's just a random girl from a very tough upbringing. He calls it a bad house, so I don't know what that means. But he's taken her as his partner and says that he should, and to improve her life, he states his deep love and affection for her, saying that anyone who loves and respects him, Nikolai, also must love and respect Masha. That Masha is very much the same as a wife, what a wife would be to him. And it ends, and chapter 24 ends with that. Again, we're very interesting progressions here. I wanted to read 2 chapters this episode, but I think we will continue it again another time, just because we're the episode is verging on 2 hours, and I may have taken a little bit too long to read this chapter, but also the little context exercise at the start of the episode also added to the prolonging of it. But I think it was really important stuff. So I hope we'll read in the future. We can read 2 chapters of Anna Karenina per episode. Yeah. I'm still not sure if I like the idea of alternating between 1Q84 and Anna Karenina in each episode. I do like the idea of both books being read in the same episode. And I also don't like how long I took between this episode and the previous one. I did get distracted with the YouTube thing, but I want at least a weekly episode, and I want at least 1 chapter progression each week per book. And that's really a low bar, like 1 chapter per week. That's very low, especially for Anna Karenina. Actually, for Anna Karenina, I think I want at least 2 chapters per book, because the ratio would be a bit better. One chapter for 1Q84 is like 2 or 3 chapters for Anna Karenina. But yes, thanks for stopping by. Um, this has been the Loose Cannon Book Show, and that was chapter 24 of Anna Karenina.